Today, I want to talk about some situations in which you would or would not want life insurance and whether term or whole life insurance is best for you. First off, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Brad. I make videos with tips and motivation on how to get out of debt, how to save money, and increase your likelihood of financial independence. If that sounds like something that's your thing, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification so you get told every single time I release a video or go live. In the early stages of my YouTube career, I made a video about this topic. I think it was like my 6th or 7th video, so I probably had 10 subscribers. And in that time, over the last 2 years, so many people have asked me my opinion about whole life insurance versus term life insurance, and if I personally carry insurance myself. I think insurance is one of those kind of debatable topics, and I want to start with, anytime somebody tells you that you should be doing something, I would really think twice about it and really do your own research. I hate when people use the phrase, you should have life insurance, or you have to be having life insurance. I think there's certain situations in which you won't need life insurance, or some situations where you should really highly consider it. So those are some things that I want to talk about. I've had experience with both, and I have feedback on both of them. My whole life insurance policy was the first life insurance policy I ever had. And to be honest, I didn't really know about it. I wasn't prepared for it. What I did with my whole life insurance is my previous business partner and I used it as kind of like a buyout contingent, meaning we both took out whole life insurance policies through our business, and the business funded that policy. And if one of us were to pass away, the benefit from that would be the buyout to our spouse. Now, looking back, I had no idea what I was doing. My partner's friend from college was the one that set it up, and I know now that he was pretty much a glorified salesman, and he set me up with a $250,000 life insurance policy with a premium of $291 a month, and that was going to be the course of my whole life. Now, these insurance brokers are going to push whole life for its cash value and how you can borrow against it and how it's an investment and things like that. And at the time, as a young kid, I was like, great. I think he used the analogy like, oh, I needed to fix my deck. I just took out money out of my policy and then I paid it back. Like, it seemed awesome. Like, he was a really, really smooth talker. And he got me into believing that A, it was a good price, B, I should have insurance, and C, it was a great investment opportunity. Now, after doing my research, after having it for a couple years, I decided to cash that out. It had a cash value of about $7,000 after a couple years of paying into it. I used that money to pay off debts, and I switched to term life insurance. And since then, I've even eliminated that. I currently do not hold life insurance. And I know that might trigger some people and make some people jump down and say, you should, you should, you should. Hear me out, and here's the reasons when I think people should or shouldn't have life insurance. Life insurance is designed to help a family member offset your income if you happen to pass away. So right off the bat, if you don't have a kid or you don't have a spouse, I really don't know if life insurance is really for you right now. Now, does that mean if you have a spouse, you need to have it? Well, that's what I first thought. When I switched from whole to term, I just started my baby steps. I just started reading about Dave Ramsey, and everyone was telling me from all over the place that I should. You need to have it. You have a kid. You have a baby. You have a wife. All these things are people telling me are the reasons why I should. And so, yes, essentially, when I cashed out my whole life insurance policy, I took out a term life insurance policy that was 4 times the amount as my whole life, and the yearly payment was just about the same as the monthly payment. That's kind of like the give and take. Whole life insurance policies have an enormous premium. They have a high monthly payment, and the salesman's going to tell you that's because you're covered for life. Now, currently, my wife works, makes as much money as me, and we are knocking down our debts. We are clearing up our financial situation. And if I were to pass away, my wife would not necessarily need my income. It would be great for her, but she would not need my income to keep going on with life. This would be different if she was, say, a stay-at-home mom, or she wasn't working, or she was doing something else, working on a side business, and didn't have that regular income. Then yes, if we were living primarily off my income, then I would have life insurance to offset the chance that I pass away. So right now we have a whole life insurance policy that goes the span of your life, that has a really, really high monthly payment, but the salesman is going to tell you that it has a really good cash value and that it's a great investment. Where now we look at the term, the argument that they're going to make about a term is that once that term is over, you get nothing. You essentially pay in this entire time, and if something happens to you the day after your term policy is over, you get nothing. And this was one of the arguments that led me to whole life as well, because I was thinking to myself, wow, if I'm 80, and you hear the horror stories, if I turn 80 and my insurance policy ends and then I get sick the next day, or I pass away 3 days later, that all that money that I put in over the years is going to be for naught. I can't say I fully believe in that anymore, because now I come from a perspective of being good with money and managing money and planning for when I'm 80. And forget 80, even if I took a 20-year term out right now, and I'm 37, so I would be 57 years old. When I'm 57 years old, with the moves that I'm making and how disciplined I'm being about money, the life insurance policy, if I passed away the day after the term was over, really wouldn't do much for our financial situation. I hope that that policy would essentially be a drop in the bucket. So now I look at it as, if I continue to play my cards right and don't need insurance, then I could save that money, put it to other things right now. Also, the downside of a term maybe is when your policy is over and you're 57, your age and things like that factor into your premium, your payment. So it becomes very, very hard to get insurance later in life. And I fully understand that. And this also ties into the whole personal finance situation. Just because I don't have it now doesn't mean that I'm not going to try and get it later. I would really avoid that whole life in policy, because if you need insurance for your whole life, that means that you've been bad with money your whole life. I think instead of focusing on what type of insurance policy you have, you should be focused on getting yourself to a position as an older person that you don't need life insurance anymore. Their investment is terrible. You could do better in other places in the market, putting your money other places. You could borrow against certain things. All the things that they're going to tell you are great about a whole life insurance policy, you can get for better with just general investments. And if you need it for that life insurance benefit, then term might be for you. Bottom line, if somebody doesn't need your income if you pass away, then life insurance isn't something that you need to worry about right now. And some people might tell me I'm wrong, and that's okay. Now, if somebody is depending on your income, I would highly suggest getting a term over a whole life insurance policy. And how you'd pick your term is really how long it's going to take you to get your finances in order, to the fact that when you die, they won't need your life insurance policy anymore. So if you think that you can become financially independent and you can get to a spot where your money situation is okay in 20 years, then that's the term that you're going to want to pay. And the premium is going to be so low that hopefully you won't even feel it. And then when your term runs out, you'll be set. Guys, thank you so much for the questions on this topic. As you know, I love when you guys give me feedback. If you want to see that first video that I made about whole life and term life, I'll put that right here. I'll put over here something that YouTube thinks that you might like. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Until I see you on the next one, stay positive, work really, really hard. Always be kind to others. Have an amazing day and a better tomorrow.